Have you ever had a time in your life where you have felt like a complete failure? I hate using that word. It's a very strong and negative word, but sometimes failure is the only word that describes perfectly how that feels. Mine happened during a 7 year relationship that I had that ended in 2011. I didn't meet my husband until 2013. So between the end of the bad relationship and meeting my husband, I had 2 years of cleaning up to do, of sweeping up the debris of this bad situation and putting my head back on straight and figuring out how to take care of myself again. Now, my former partner has since passed away, and I do feel a little bit guilty talking about him, but I'm not going to say anything that's untrue or disrespectful, and I'm certainly not going to use his name. But let's just say that he was not a very supportive partner. He was not physically abusive or anything like that. And there were times when he could be actually very lovely and sweet. And we had some very good times together. But he didn't like the fact that I made my living as an actor, which is something I think he had always wanted to do, but never pursued. And he really didn't like the fact that I had to go out of town sometimes to do my work. But when I did these out of town jobs, and there was a tour that I went on during that time as well, I was making really good money. And so I had made the deal with him that I would pay the bills while I was away, as, sort of a way of making up for the fact that I wasn't there. And he could just bank his money. That was a huge mistake, of course, but I saw it as a bargaining chip because I didn't want to lose him. Because when your self esteem is in the basement, you will hang on to someone with a death grip, you know? So ultimately, he cheated on me and moved out and left me holding the bag on about $10,000 of his personal debt that he just didn't feel that he needed to pay. And this was all debt that he had accrued while we were together. It was money he owed me. It was always, oh, I can only pay you half the rent this month. I'll catch you on the flip side next month. And the flip side never came, so the debts just kept piling. And it got to the point where I, at the end of it, was close to having to declare bankruptcy. Thanks to a very good friend of mine and my father, I was able to secure a couple of loans so that I could pay everything off, get square with everybody, with my creditors, with my the taxes that I owed, and then I had to work at paying back my father and my friend. But thank God that I had them. Some people don't have anybody there to help in that kind of a situation. But during this whole time, I really was kicking myself and saying, "Oh, you're such a loser. Why did you want to be with someone that was going to treat you like that? And you're just not good at relationships. And now, you're probably not going to be able to get work as an actor again." All of these thoughts that you have about crashing and burning, I had them. And then, out of the blue, 2 years later, I meet this wonderful man who I didn't realize was going to become my husband, but we just hit it off and we started as friends and it just grew and developed. And here we are 13 years later, and we've been married for almost 4 of those years. And I am in the happiest place I've been in my life, in the best relationship I've ever been in. And it does strike me that I wouldn't be here if I hadn't gone through those 7 years with the previous partner. And so rather than look back on that and resent it and blame it and say, oh, I wish I had those years back and the money and all that stuff, I look at it now as something that taught me huge lessons, but also as kind of a perverse lesson in life. And had I not been there, I wouldn't be here. So I don't know if you're in a situation now where everything is good, but you occasionally look back at a bad relationship or a bad exchange you had with somebody and you carry a grudge, now's the time to release that stuff and to treat it as a hidden blessing. And if you're currently in the middle of a bad situation, the way I had been, just know that it's going to take some work. It's not going to be easy. There are times when you will kick yourself and beat yourself up, but you will get through this. You are not a failure. Nothing about you is a failure. You're going to get to the other side of this and you'll look back and you'll see it as something that maybe you had to go through so that you could be smarter, so that you could be a little more evolved, that you could be in a better place, so that you were open then for whatever was meant to happen next. So that's what I have for you today. Those are things I want you to think about. Please go out and commit just random acts of kindness everywhere you can. Make a difference in somebody's life. Be as kind as you can be out there. Thank you, as always, for being here and watching. I'm so glad you're here, and I will see you on the next one. Until then, you have yourself a beautiful day. Bye-bye.